Hello there. Thanks for choosing RTV News. I am Isabel Masozera, and today I am not alone. You find out in just a heartbeat. This is what we have coming up. President Paul Kagame has reiterated that serving the Rwandan people must be reflected in one's actions, not just their words. And also later on, we unpack why the problem of terrorism and human trafficking in the East African community is a serious issue that needs to be looked into. This is RTV News. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our guest anchor is Shema Justin. You find out why the beautiful outfit and the story that he has to share. Now, top of our edition, as we begin, let us inform you that, on Friday afternoon, His Excellency Paul Kagame chaired a cabinet meeting at Village Urugwiro discussing various national measures and policies being implemented. Now, before the cabinet meeting began, the country's new Minister of Local Government was sworn in. We will have more on that shortly. Before we continue, let us also inform you that President of Angola, who has been mediating between Rwanda and the DRC on the issues that have been affecting the bilateral relations of the two countries, is in Rwanda on a working visit and held discussions with His Excellency Paul Kagame. Angola's Minister of Foreign Affairs had arrived earlier in Rwanda on Thursday evening ahead of the head of state as part of the efforts to revive the diplomatic relations between Rwanda and DRC and ensure security in the region. Moving on, President Paul Kagame has reiterated that serving the Rwandan people must be reflected in one's actions, not just in words. The head of state made the statement on Friday after the swearing in of the Minister of Local Government. We learn more from Serge Inore.
Ngewe Musabyimana Jean-Claude
ndahiriye u Rwanda ku mugaragaro.
Jean-Claude Musabyimana took his oath at Village Urugwiro, and afterwards, during a cabinet meeting, His Excellency Paul Kagame made it clear that actions always speak louder than words when it comes to serving the people.
The
ministers and other officials are charged with serving Rwandans. That is their responsibility, to serve the country, and that cannot be done verbally only. Most of that performance should be gauged by actions, even through the oath he just took before us. It is clear what responsibilities people have. People may just choose not to properly fulfill those responsibilities and instead do what they want, and that is another problem. But the fact remains that the principles that should be followed and the responsibilities themselves are clear enough. The head of state also pointed out the fact that local residents must play a role in their own development.
Ndizera ko umuyobozi Musabyimana umaze kurahira izo nshingano zumva kandi
I therefore believe that the official Musabyimana, who has just taken his oath, understands those duties, and I also believe that he is ready to fulfill them. As for the rest, it involves serving the people, and that is especially true when it comes to the ministry he is going to head. It is about the development our country can achieve, just as other countries can also achieve it, and that is how it goes, because there can be no development if it is not based on the people, be it what is done for them or their own input, whether there are ideas or other initiatives that they take part in. Jean-Claude Musabyimana becomes the third Minister of Local Government in almost as many years. He takes office as the country's economy continues to struggle to fully recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and is experiencing rising food prices because of the war in Ukraine.
In more news, the problem of terrorism and human trafficking in the East African community is a serious issue that must be looked into. A major topic at the meeting that brought together members of the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution of the East African Legislative Assembly and other institutions in Rwanda. Betty Motoni gives us a closer look.
Terrorism will continue to be a potent threat to peace and security in the region, and the terrorist groups that continue to cause insecurity in the region include the FDLL, ADF, and Al-Shabaab. In the quest of combating terrorism and human trafficking, there are challenges that are faced, as is explained by the chairperson of Committee on the Region Affairs and Conflict Resolutions in East African Legislative Assembly, EALA, Honorable Fatuma Ndangiza.
For terrorism to happen, first there is radicalization. It's either faith or faith instigated or politically instigated ideology. And you know, when someone is indoctrinated or radicalized, changing these people is very difficult. Even when they are jailed where they are, they might intoxicate other inmates. The other challenge we have is the issue of porous borders, because most of these crimes are transnational crimes. So we've learned that in Rwanda, there is an integrated border management system. In some other countries, it's not there. Or they have a mix of integrated to some points and not others. So being able to share information, to coordinate, to update this crime from time to time becomes a challenge, and that requires the need for the East African community to come up with an integrated border management system.
The various organizations involved in this find that cooperation in the fighting against terrorism and human trafficking in the countries of East Africa community is important, and all the countries should show the political will to fight against terrorist groups, as it is explained by Evariste Murwanashyaka, the head of programs of Umbrella of Human Rights Organization.
The problem is that the issue of human trafficking and terrorism is increasing on a daily basis, and with new forms. It is the reason why we have to work together. We have to discuss on the level of the issue and take the measures to fight against that kind of human rights violations.
The objective of this meeting that brought together the Committee on the Region Affairs and the Conflict Resolutions in East African Legislative Assembly was to analyze the insecurity problems caused by terrorism and human trafficking in East African community, the challenges faced in the fighting against terrorism and human trafficking, and to generally monitor the implementation of national and regional measures to combat terrorism and human trafficking in East African community.
We realize that the government has done a lot in terms of putting in place policies, legislative and institutional framework, sensitizing the population, but also implementing the various policy, legal and institutional frameworks that EAC has put in place. But we've also realized that these are threats that cannot be resolved by one single agency or country. There is need for holistic interventions, and that's where the region comes in.
This meeting brought together the representatives in the ministries responsible for East African Community Affairs, Internal Affairs, Security, Justice, Immigration, Judicial and Public Prosecution, Criminal Investigation, and non-governmental organizations. Betty Mutoni, RTV News.
Thank you, Betty. Now moving on from regional matters, some of the agricultural processing industry representatives have pledged to build at least one early childhood development center every year in a bid to address the need for nurseries and kindergartens, especially for parents working in tea plantations. More in this report.
It's midday, and her one-year-old son has been out since 6 a.m. in the morning. She's not worried because she trusts that the orphanage that was built by Sorate Tea Factory always takes care of the underprivileged children, and she has worked as a tea farmer for 13 years. You bring him in the morning and you breastfeed him. But before the early childhood development centers were established, one would carry the child to the marshlands and even risk the child being washed away by the floods. Since 2018, the school has welcomed children between 3 months and 3 years. And when children turn 3 years old, they are sent to the kindergarten to prepare them for primary school. It is beneficial for parents with preschool children to really have the confidence in the education system. They changed the mindset of the children, and whenever you go or anywhere you go, the child is able to say, "Good morning." For daycare centers owned by Soratek cater to 110 children, and 11 kindergartens support 2,000 children. Currently, the factory has the capacity of processing 3,500 million tons per day. Every year, Soratek builds a school. Today, we have 11 schools. Apart from the Soratek factory in the northern province, the Nyabihu factory in the western province is not far behind. Since 2019, it has been accepting children of its workers. Today, it has 3 daycare centers catering to 152 children. Parents say that leaving their children in the hands of people they trust increases their productivity and even sometimes doubles it. They credit this to placing early childhood development centers in the tea plantations and also the nearby places around their workplace. 6 a.m., the child has arrived at school, and I also go to look for food before I bring them there. I bring 2 children to the school. One is 2 years old, and the other is 3 years old. The director of Nyabihu Tea Factory finds that increasing the number of early childhood development centers is one of the ways to improve the productivity of the tea industry.
We have many women, about 60 to 70 kilograms, and it has increased the money. And secondly, the challenges of working less hours has reduced, and missing work because of related issues is no longer an issue.
Between 50 to 70 of the employees in the tea industry are women and are paid according to the number of leaves they pick. The Center for Child Development, NCDA, notes the importance of reaching out to child daycare workers.
There is a platform that brings together entrepreneurs where we are able to meet them and discuss the initiatives impacting parents and their children so that they are the first to ensure they are put in place to enable parents and children to thrive.
Studies show that the total output of the tea industry has increased from $84.2 million in 2017 to $95.7 million in 2021, and the amount of processed tea has increased from 26 million tons to 35 million tons.
Welcome back. This is RwandaTV News. I'm Shemer. On the international scene, Ukrainian artillery teams say that they have been hitting key Russian targets and separating enemy infantry from better armed camellas to make them vulnerable to ground attacks. The following report courtesy of RFE-RL.
Once upon a time, Imana was God of your mother. What do you see when you look at me? Men and women, the image y'all show.
Now joining me on tonight's edition is Justin Shema, and yes, he has a lot that he has been doing, but he is actually headlining the fashion and culture themed exhibition, The Gods of Women. What a name. Welcome to the news.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Once again, thank you so much for helping me navigate today's edition.
Okay, thanks.
Did you have fun?
Yes, please.
Okay, now I want to learn a little bit more about this edition of your exhibition. Why this name, The Gods of Women? What inspired it? What led you to this name?
Oh, thanks. I've been thinking to do like the more creative about this exhibition. So I was get like inspired by my mother, where all in general like women on how they work hard, on how they just go to work hard like for their family. Yeah,
and you wanted to do something to honor that?
Yeah, sure.
Wow, that is beautiful. This exhibition, when is it and where is it?
The exhibition will take place at the Gowite Institute, is at Kiyovu, and it will be on 24th November this year.
Okay, now what themes will you be unpacking during this exhibition?
The theme of this exhibition will be Kwanda. Kwanda is the name, like I may say it's like it's to enlarge or to spread. So we need to spread the Rwandan attire, like Mushanana, to the whole world.
Oh, so you want to introduce our culture to celebrate the Rwandan Mushanana and just expose the international audience to it?
Yeah, through to the theme of Kwanda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you hope the audience or the people that will be coming to this exhibition perceive the show?
I'm expecting like the audience like to be like more like to come there, like over like 200 people.
Okay.
It will be a pleasure to host them, and they will be we'll be showcasing like the story behind about how the women are strong, so we'll be showcasing the fashion and the culture and the tourism, like focusing like Visit Rwanda, where we'll be showcasing like Mushanana, and then we'll be showcasing like the fashion, and then we'll be showcasing some places here in Rwanda, like in Sanzi and Mumutara, where we'll be showcasing like cows. So I think it will be like the good place to be on that day.
What I'm hearing is it's going to be a celebration of fashion, of culture, of tourism, and what Rwanda, the beauty of Rwanda and what it has to offer. That sounds like incredible stuff. But I want to know the creative process. You know, what has it been like for you coming up with this exhibition? What have been some of the biggest lessons that you have learned?
Like the first challenge that I made with this process to showcasing this exhibition to take place, it's you see we go and we move around, so we were thinking like some like 2 places to go, and we do have like 30 districts in Rwanda, so we didn't get like the place where to go, but finally we just choose to go to Musanze and to go to Mutara, so it was really like how to think. You need to go to Nyungwe, you need to go to other places at that first, and finally we got that place. And the second one, it's hard to get like the theme of this big exhibition. Like so we think with my fellows. So we think how we going showcasing this, how will be like the theme, but finally we got the name like that we could need to explain the Mushanana to the whole world. So I think like through that creative process, I do learn a lot, like how to do learn a lot, how to link up fashion and culture and tourism in one thing. It was really a good experience. I just learned.
Who are some of the people that you're working with? Because this sounds like a very big project. I don't assume you're doing this on your own.
Yeah. So I've been working with Fox Africa, like it's the producer we're working on, and there is other 2 ones is videographers called Asman and Gitego.
Yes.
So they are the one who are working together to build this big project.
Okay. Now the video that we showed a bit earlier, you talk about some really interesting themes in there. Can you just talk to me a little bit about your journey and what led you to into fashion? Were you always hoping to become a fashion model? Or is this something that you did out of necessity?
Oh, so thank you. So I portray myself as Tin Shema, and I have been starting doing my fashion career since 2016. So I have been like need to showcase like in general the arts, like how the art could express in different things, like in music, in fashion, in many things. So for me, it was like a table, like a space for me to express my feelings that I have in myself, like to showcase like the clothes, to work with the semblance here in Rwanda on international level, to work in model agents, like to inspire others, like the arts of like my fellow arts. So it was really the space like for me to express what I'm having in myself, like to express
that, to put that out. Thank you so much, and we definitely wish you the very best. I personally would love to come there, learn a little bit more about the Moshanana, and just really get to know more about this exhibition. Right? Well, thank you so much for being part of RTV News.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Isabel.
It's a pleasure. And for you that chose to be with us today, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you some more tomorrow. Stay with RTV.